Hey, it's Glenn Livingston, author of Never Binge Again, and I'd like to talk to you today about maximizing the odds of success after your first Never Binge Again coaching session. There are 4 things you should do right away to permanently cage your pig, or to help permanently cage your pig. So I'd like you to watch this entire video as soon as possible after the session. It's not very long, and it really does contain some critical follow-up insights. Okay, so what are those 4 things? What do we need to do? First of all, as an overall perspective, the insights that you get from the first session should leave you with a tremendous sense of newfound power, hope, freedom, and enthusiasm. Never Binge Again is intended to restore your focus and clarity and sense of free will and responsibility to be able to choose whatever food plan that you want to and to stick with it. And it's very much in contrast to the mythology and the culture that says that that's not possible. Okay. So these 4 things are things you can do right away to help keep those feelings, help keep those positive feelings so you can trust them and build on that foundation going forward. The first thing you want to do is clarify what actually happened in your session. I'm going to take a couple of notes about it and make sure you understand what actually happened. Your coach probably identified at least one food rule with you or a whole food plan. Then they looked at why you wanted to follow that plan. What does that rule or the plan as a whole mean to you? What do you think it's going to do for you? And what happens if you don't? Not just in 6 months or a year, but what about in 5 years or 10 years? So we're looking at the big why and the big why not. And it's important to capture that so that you remember the powerful experience. Then, with that ghost of Christmas future in front of us and the big why in front of us, it was safer to look at all the crazy pig squeals. What are all the things your pig says to convince you that you can't, shouldn't, or won't do this? We rooted them out, got them on the table, drained the pig of its energy. It's important that you know when you do this, you want to get all the squeals on the table first rather than trying to dispute each squeal as it comes out, because that drains the pig of its energy. Once they're on the table, we came up with rational responses for the squeals. Where is the lie contained within the squeal? What's the logical perversion that the pig is relying on in order to get you to binge? And the purpose of doing that was to make it easier for you to recognize the squeals going forward. You won't think it's your own thoughts. You'll think that, oh my God, there's the pig. And you don't have to remember what the pig says. You don't have to remember the responses to what the pig says. You just have to remember that it is a squeal. And since the pig by definition is always up to no good, you can just ignore it. It's kind of like debating or arguing with a farm animal. You just ignore it when you really recognize that the farm animal is trying to convince you to do something. Okay, so take a breath, push the pause button, and capture your new sense of hope, freedom, and enthusiasm. It's okay to savor that feeling because it is real. You really can cage the pig. Now, before you worked with a Never Binge Again coach, you probably didn't have enough clarity about how you wanted to eat. There's so much confusion and misinformation in the culture, all of the junk science and multitude of different dietary philosophies. So you probably were walking around feeling confused about what was okay and what was not okay. And you also probably didn't know what your true motivation was, because the pig works really hard to hide that from you. It doesn't want you to see either the positive future for what happens when you follow your rules or the negative future that happens if you don't. Because if you see those things, then binging seems really silly, pig slop seems pathetic in comparison. And because of all this, you couldn't hear the crazy rationalizations in your own head for breaking your own plans. Without a rule, you don't really know when the pig is talking or you're talking. But if I have a rule like, I will never eat chocolate on a weekday again, then there's nothing my pig could say on a Wednesday that would convince me that it was me who wanted the chocolate and not it. Because the pig squeal is defined as any thought, feeling, impulse, or image which suggests that we'll ever break our food plan either now or in the future until the day that we die. So I'll never have chocolate on a Wednesday is a very bright line, and you know when you're on one side versus the other. Anything that suggests that you cross the line is the pig. So in the midst of all this ambiguity and confusion, your pig made you feel hopeless about ever reaching your health and fitness goals. And as a consequence, you might have thought that you'd be at the mercy of the pig forever, but it's just not true. Once you have a session with a Never Binge Again coach, a whole new life perspective should open up in front of you. You should begin to feel like it's really possible to craft the food plan that you want to and move forward. But the problem is that your pig won't go willingly. It doesn't want to live in a cage, so it's going to pretend to be big and strong to make you think Never Binge Again is actually impossible. It's going to rely on its old tricks for sure, but what you should know is it's going to frantically try a bunch of new ones. None of this should bother you. It's all very addressable, but you do know how to address it. You do need to know how to address it. The biggest thing the pig will say is, oh, come on. Yeah, you have these good feelings, but you've never succeeded before, and you can't possibly succeed now. Any form that takes, you didn't before, so you can't in the future. You're doomed to do exactly what you did before forever. Any form that takes is pig's wheel. It's okay if you're on a highway for 1,000 miles without taking an exit. You can always take the next one, no matter what, no matter what, no matter what. Moreover, what's the option? Just lying down and let the pig try to stuff your face and try to be a happy fat person? I haven't met people that are really happy letting the pig stuff them. There was the saying in the 1800s that if a man doesn't mind his belly, he doesn't mind much else. But my practical experiences, I find that most people mind it. So, what's the option? You're gonna get up repeatedly anyway, so you might as well understand that the name of the game is staying in the game until you win the game. The name of the game is staying in the game until you win the game. People who solve big problems are almost always those who failed repeatedly in multiple attempts along the way. Your pig is actually pointing out how persistent and tenacious you are until you get what you want. This is a compliment, not a criticism, so tell the stupid pig to be quiet. Okay. Having the fortitude to fall down 7 times and get up 8 times is what really separates the women from the girls and the men from the boys in terms of success on Never Binge Again. So, in order to prevent you from continuing to get up until you win the game, your pig's going to try to make you feel insecure about your commitment. It's all about security versus insecurity. So you want to learn how to root out any thoughts or feelings that make you feel insecure. So one of the first things it's going to do is say that this is going to take too much effort. It's going to take a tremendous amount of time and energy to cage the pig. It'll tell you that it's going to be torture to stay on your food plan and pursue your health and fitness goals forever. And that it's all really just hopeless and you might as well just give in to the pig and binge. Of course that's what it wants. But that's all part of the pig's master plan, and you're onto it and you can cage the pig anyway. See, we're wired to win the battle once we recognize what's going on. That's the pivotal insight. The way our neurology is set up, we're wired to win. So everything, all the pig can do is try to fool us into feeding it. It tries to make us think that it's powerful. It tries to make us think that we can't win. It tries to make us think that it's in control and not us. But the truth is, you're the only one that can control your hands and your mouth and your tongue and your arms and your legs. You're the only one who can grab the car keys and get in the car and start the car and navigate to the convenience store and buy the bags or boxes and containers and walk to the checkout counter and take out the money and pay the lady and walk away and wait until you get to the car to open it and take out the package from the bag and open the bag and take out a piece of it and put it in your mouth and chew and swallow it. You're the only one who can do all that. I'm going on and on and on because I want you to understand that every behavior chain along that way represents another lever that you can pull to stop this behavior in place. You're wired to win as soon as you recognize what the pig is doing. And if you allow yourself to win, if you make a commitment to win, and you ask yourself what the authentic need is behind the craving. What's the authentic physical need? Are you nourishing yourself? Are you feeding yourself? Your survival drive will eventually detach from the pig slop and reattach to healthy food. All you need to do is recognize what the pig is doing and ignore it. So the goal is to make your pig feel utterly hopeless so it finally shuts up and lets you go on with your life without all the mental obsession and mental noise in the background. It can take a few months of consistent effort before the pig goes up, though. And that's the part that really bothers most people, but it really shouldn't, because anything worthwhile takes a couple of months. It's like learning how to drive. It takes a couple of months to study the rules of the road and practice a couple of the turns and know what to do at a four-way stop and a yellow light and a yield sign and all that kind of thing. But once you know, and you don't have to make a crazy effort to drive, you just drive. So during the time that you're making this consistent effort, the pig will look for new ways to bother you. And here's what you can do to overcome those new ways. First of all, take some notes. It doesn't matter if you use your computer or a journal or even the back of a napkin. Put what you experience in the session into your own words to help it last. See, your intellect, your vocabulary, your language is the food of your intellect. That's how you take control of so many things in this world. And this is a place where you actually want to get into your head. Never Binge Again is not about trying to tune into your feelings more deeply or meditate or be more intuitive about what you eat, although that will happen paradoxically in the long run once you've protected yourself from the dangerous intersection. Never Binge Again is about moving control over your important food decisions from your impulses to your intellect. So you want to get into your head. A lot of people spend a lot of time trying to get out of the head and yoga and meditation and everything, but you actually want to get into your head and use language to articulate what happens. So be sure that the written food plan reflects any changes that you made during the session. That's really important. Don't let your pig get you to put it off. It's best if you do it right away and definitely before you go to bed tonight. Include your big why in your notes so your pig can't steal your enthusiasm for the future by refocusing you on the immediate plan. The pig wants you to seek short-term gratification versus long-term gratification. And if you went through a big why not, the ghost of Christmas future, what's going to happen if you don't do this in a couple of years, then write that down too. And finally, record the healthy responses to pig squeal that you identified during the session. So the important notes you need to take are what changes you made to your food plan, what was your big why, what's your understanding of it after the session, what's the big why not, and the healthy responses to the pig squeal. How did you dispute all the logical perversions your pig put forward to try to fool you? Remember, this is very important, there's nothing wrong with you if you have cravings. They're normal. We assign them to the pig. We say you don't have them and the pig does, but it's normal to physiologically experience those cravings, and they should die off slowly over the course of a few weeks to a few months. So don't feel like you're doing something wrong if you have cravings. You're actually doing something right. The only way to extinguish a craving is to have a craving and then not reinforce it. Although cravings soften dramatically over time, they never really go away entirely, and that's perfectly okay. It's just like we have some very powerful biological urges we all live comfortably with day in and day out. There are a lot of attractive people on the street that we don't go out and kiss. We often have to use the bathroom, but we wait until we get to an appropriate restroom or a commode or someplace that it's appropriate to discharge that urge. And we're not scared all day long that oh my God, I'm going to have to pee and that's going to be impossible. We just know that we're in control and we take control. Okay, you should keep a pig squeal journal for about a month. It means about 5 minutes every morning you ask the pig, what is it that you have today for me, pig? What's your best reason to get me to binge? And then look at that reason. At the very least, you're going to remove the element of surprise and you'll recognize the squeal going forward. This neutralizes unexpected squeals before the pig has a chance to use them on you. And if you've got a good answer, if you know how to dispute the squeal, go ahead and write it down, but you don't have to debate with farm animals. You only need to recognize the squeal later on, and that's what the purpose of this is. And the pig can't resist its game, so even though it knows what's happening, it's going to lunge at it anyway. So enjoy making the pig suffer. So your pig might say, you know how depressing that meeting's going to be. You can't expect to get through it without a little pig slop, can you? Come on, let's go out and get some right now. We deserve it. And you say, what I really deserve are all the benefits I came up with in my big why. Losing weight, having more energy, being free from food obsession, better relationships. Take that, pig. Okay, so that is what you want to do after the first session. You might want to watch the video again and take a couple of notes about this video. And if you do this, I think that you'll have a really good start, a really good chance of maximizing your odds of success.